What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Benchwarmer Sports. In today's video, we got a lot to talk about regarding the Cleveland Browns. Today was the first day of mandatory mini camps for the Cleveland Browns, and a lot of stuff to talk about today. And there's also been some other news coming out regarding the Cleveland Browns that I also wanted to touch on today. But first, let's get into the good news. Deshaun Watson supposedly had his best day as a Cleveland Brown in practice. Let me preface that and let me absolutely emphasize. In practice, he had his best day as a Cleveland Brown, okay? And I don't want to be the person. You already know I've said this before if you've watched me if you watched my channel talking about the Cleveland Browns. There are a lot of people, especially in the media, especially in Cleveland media, who want to get your hopes up about the Cleveland Browns in the upcoming season. They want to always talk about how great somebody looked in practice, how they look like they could have a really good year, and then all of a sudden they bottom out when the season starts. I'm prefacing this by saying I know it's practice. It is practice. But it is also really big news because a lot of people, especially in the media, especially in Browns media and national media, who have been at the mandatory minicamp today that took place, said what a completely different player Deshaun Watson looks like right now compared to last year. And the reason why I say that is because Nathan Zagora, who is the Cleveland Browns, basically he's the next face of Cleveland Browns media. He's the analyst for the Browns on game days. He hosts Cleveland Browns Daily. You know, just everybody. If you're a Browns fan, you know who he is. But today he tweeted out, "Today was a very, very special day at Browns minicamp. Deshaun Watson was nearly flawless. 9 touchdowns on 10 red zone 7-on-7 plays. Not a single incompletion in the field 7-on-7s. Absolute dots. Seek out the videos. Great step today. How it's supposed to look." And I saw one tweet from Daryl Ryder, who's the Browns beat reporter for 92.3 The Fan. He said that basically he had in the red zone drills and all of that, he had every single pass was a touchdown except for one, which was a pass breakup by Greg Newsome, who we'll talk about later on in today's video. But then you have Nick Carnes down there. Dare I say that's the elite skill set we all knew Cleveland traded for? Like I said at the beginning, it is very, very, very important to keep in mind. This is just practice. This is not game day situations. This is none of that. But I will say that it's very important to see this and to hear this because Deshaun Watson struggled mightily in his 6 games coming back from the 700-day, layoff and the fiasco that was the allegations in his legal situation that was going on with him, right? To hear that, people who were Browns fans saying, he's going to have a full year of off-season workouts. He's going to have a full year of training with the Cleveland Browns, training with an NFL team, getting back into the regimen of being a starting NFL quarterback, just doing stuff with his teammates, with the team, being at the facility, being around his teammates, not being away from the facility, just getting back into the groove of things like he was in Houston, right? Where he was a top 5 quarterback. I'm not exaggerating. He was a top 5 quarterback when he was in Houston. Now that he has a full off season of work that he's able to do with the Cleveland Browns without any, disruptions, knock on wood, without any disruptions, without any, legal fiascos, without any off the field issues, Deshaun Watson should be in a very, very good spot to succeed here and be hopefully as good, if not better, than what he was in Houston. And I think that the Browns are starting to look at this with some very, very good, optimism here. Now we have some video clips of today from Deshaun's practice, just absolutely being a stud here on the practice field. You can see he throws it to Amari Cooper. I think this is his the red zone drills that they ran, and they had one pass to Donovan Peoples-Jones that I'm not able to find, but I saw it on Twitter earlier today where he got Donovan Peoples-Jones in the back of the end zone and just absolutely hit him on the high point. It was just a terrific pass. And like I said, you want to see stuff like this from Deshaun Watson because if he's comfortable, if he's firing on all cylinders, this dude's elite. He's an elite quarterback. I think people are not really recognizing or giving him his due because of what happened in the six games that he played in last season. The off the field stuff, how he left Houston, stuff like that. But when he's fully healthy and firing on all cylinders, Deshaun Watson is as good as players like Joe Burrow. He's as good as quarterbacks like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers or people like that. He's as good as those guys, okay? And I think that's what has been kind of misleading by the media is that they want you to just focus on the 6 games and just say, oh, well, they had him ranked as the 22nd best quarterback coming into the season, which is absolutely terrible and just not factual reporting at all by the media as usual. But Deshaun Watson, if he can continue what we saw today or what we heard today, how he just looks totally different, he looks totally comfortable, totally in seam, and just has that connection with his receivers. I mean, there's been clips coming out with Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore just talking about how accurate he is compared to last year. You had Marquise Goodwin last week talking about how it's fun to have a quarterback where you don't need to worry about whether he's going to make the pass, the deep ball. You just have to run, and then he'll get it to you. It's so refreshing to hear that because the last couple of years, we haven't really had that with a quarterback because Baker, for all of his successes, there still was that hanging question over him, the looming question over him was that is he really legit? Is he really that guy that can take the Browns to another level to succeed in the NFL? We had the 11-5 season during COVID, was able to beat the Steelers in the best game I've ever seen as a Browns fan, 48-37 at Pittsburgh. One play away, one missed helmet call away from going to the AFC Championship game against the Buffalo Bills, which would have been an absolute fan service, AFC Championship game for the NFL. But he still had those looming questions over his head. Even after that season when he went 26 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, he had his best career year in 2020. In 2021, people were still saying, can he step it up one more level? Can he do that to absolutely reach the top 10 quarterback conversation? Because that was the debate going on. Was Baker a top 10 quarterback? Personally, I said no. I thought he was a top 10 fringe quarterback. I thought he'd be like in the 10 to 14 range. I thought he's like in the Kirk Cousins range during that year. But the best part is that Deshaun Watson, he's not in any of those discussions. He's not. He's not in any of those discussions because Deshaun Watson has absolutely proven to be a great quarterback in this league. You don't need to worry about can Deshaun Watson take another step to be elite. Deshaun Watson is already elite. That's the best part about him. He's elite. He's already an elite quarterback. He needed time in order to get to being elite again, if you know what I mean. So to see the shift in the narrative from last year where can Deshaun Watson push through the negativity and all of the different stuff going on off the field? It's all the mental side, right? Can he push through the mental aspects of what has been going on off the field? That was last year. Now you get to this year. You've got a full off season of work with the Cleveland Browns, with your team. This is your first real off season as an NFL quarterback in 3 years. So let's get that in mind too. Deshaun Watson really has not been on a team for the entire year, like an off-season program, for 3 years. because in 2020, that was his last full year as a quarterback in the NFL. 2021, he sat out because of both contract negotiations and disputes and legal issues. 2022, we all know what happened with that. Legal disputes, had the 6-game suspension, and they bumped it up to 11. So this really is his first full offseason as an NFL quarterback in 3 years. So to have that going on for him and to see that, how players are talking about him, how players are noticing how much better and more comfortable he is, how good he is, how you got coordinators and your head coach is talking about how much better he looks in this offense. Not to mention you have Kevin Stefanski, who said that they completely are reworking the offense around Deshaun. So you're going to have Deshaun throw more. Not to mention you had Elijah Moore, who's a speedster, who, by all indications from reports from people who have been at the OTAs and minicamps, who said that they like Elijah Moore and Deshaun Watson are clicking like that. Amari Cooper's having some chemistry with him as well. Demetric Felton is there. I don't want to be, like I said, I don't want to be the guy that hypes it up because it's just practice. But from all indications, if they can continue this path, down this path of Deshaun getting back into the groove of things, I don't understand why you cannot expect him to perform like a top 5 quarterback. Because that is what my expectations should be. That's what Browns fans should expect. For what the Browns gave up to get him. 3 first-round picks, pick swaps, mid-round picks, and a fully guaranteed contract of $230 million. The Browns should expect Deshaun Watson to play like a top 5 quarterback. We cannot have incrementalism. We cannot have that. That's just not, it's out the window. That's why if you hear people saying, well, Deshaun Watson just needs to be better than last year, that's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. It's too bad. Yes, do you want him to be better than last year? Absolutely. Everybody wants him to be better than last year. The problem is that you're not paying for him to be better than last year. You didn't give up 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson to be better than what he was last year. You're paying him and you gave up those picks so that he can be that top 5 quarterback that he was in Houston. So that he can be better. He can be in the conversation again with people like Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Rodgers. Those are the 5 names. And then you put Watson. Those are 5 names that you should go, I don't want to be the defenders when Deshaun Watson has the ball in his hands in the last 2 minutes. I don't want to be the cornerback. I don't want to be the linebacker that has to scout him. I don't want to do that. That's what we should be expecting from Deshaun Watson. And from all indications from this report, from the OTAs and that, he is starting to look like that again. And that is a good sign. But unfortunately with the Browns, you get good news on one day, and the next, you get not really good news at all. So if you guys have not paid attention, if you guys haven't seen any of the news coming out recently, the other day, yesterday I believe, we got a report that said that a Browns player got carjacked at gunpoint, and we've later learned that it was Demetric Felton who got his car stolen. But we also learned as well 2 more Browns players got robbed for their cars and were robbed at gunpoint. So you see here, Jake Trotter, who's the Browns ESPN reporter, goes on to say 2 Cleveland Browns players were robbed at gunpoint by 6 masked men, according to a police report. The police redacted the names of the victims in the incident report, but a team source confirmed that the 2 players were cornerback Greg Newsome and defensive tackle Perrion Winfrey. Neither was harmed during the incident, police said. So, and they say, according to the police, the 2 players left a Cleveland nightclub early Monday morning. When they got to Newsome's truck in a nearby parking lot, 6 masked men jumped out of an unknown car and robbed them at gunpoint at 3:30 a.m. Eastern Monday. In addition to stealing jewelry, the suspects fled in Newsome's truck. So, like I said, another thing that's been going on too is that the police are starting to think that it's a organized crime ring to target Browns players and athletes across Cleveland. So that was some really big news coming out from, yesterday and early on this morning, a lot of people were talking about, just the crime spree. Luckily, none of them got hurt, but the fact that three Browns players and really three young Browns players who both got drafted. I mean, these guys got drafted the last 2 years to Cleveland. So Demetric Felton and Greg Newsome were drafted in 2021, and Perion Winfrey got drafted last year in 22. So these guys are young men, and it seems like they're targeting the younger players in this like crime ring. So just a big breaking news from yesterday regarding that, because I don't understand why they haven't said about Demetric Felton. They've been talking about Perion Winfrey and Greg Newsome getting robbed, but nobody really has talked about Demetric Felton getting robbed for some reason. So it's not two Browns players, it's really three. Three of them got carjacked, but the police are saying, or at least the reports are saying, that's a separate incident. But still, you got three Browns players who both got robbed, or who got robbed for their cars at gunpoint. So very sketchy. Just want to say, glad that they're all okay. Nobody got hurt, but it's definitely very concerning when you got, Browns players being victims of crimes in Cleveland. And I just wanted to talk about the story because it is very important for the Browns, because, really, Demetric Felton, Greg Newsome is one of your best young players. Demetric Felton could have a big role in the offense. Perion Winfrey could have another big role on the defensive line as well. So, really, three of your better young players getting involved in serious crimes, at least being victims of serious crimes. Let me clarify, being victims of serious crimes. Not the best way to make news in the off season. But glad that they're okay. Just wanted to touch on that if you guys have not seen the reports. But very scary situation, but we're glad that everything worked out fine, and that nobody got hurt. But hopefully they can get their belongings and their property back, because it's a very scary situation. So, but like I said, luckily that nobody got hurt, and hopefully we can continue on and be healthy and get ready for training camp coming up next month. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching me talk about Deshaun Watson and his, quote unquote resurgence with the Cleveland Browns, and about the whole carjacking situation regarding the Browns as well. If you guys like this type of content, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for hitting us over the 600 subscriber milestone. 400 to go. We're trying to get there. Hopefully we can get it during the football season. Like the video as well. Helps out in the algorithm. Gets more eyes on the channel as well. So make sure you guys hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Also, if you guys are feeling extra generous, there's my Cash App down here at the bottom of the screen. It's the best way to donate to the channel to upgrade the quality of the content. Every single donation will go to upgrading the quality of the content. We're trying to get some better microphones so we can do some IRL stuff with the Browns fans, especially during game days. That's what I really want to do, is interview Browns fans during game days when I go down there. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys think before and after the games. Trying to get a camera for vlogging. Like I said, same thing for Browns games and for other stuff. Better software, better equipment, everything like that. Everything's going for upgrading the quality of the content. So if you guys are feeling extra generous, that is my Cash App there down at the bottom of the screen. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out here on your Tuesday evening. I'll see you guys all in another video. Take care. I got actually one more thing. I'm sorry. I got a really funny video planned for the upcoming for later on this week. I think you guys are gonna like it. It's a little bit different from what I usually post, but you guys are going to like it a lot, I think. And now I'll stop talking. I'll see you guys all in another video. Take care.